Have you ever wondered what happens when martial law is declared? The term martial law might seem like it's straight out of a dystopian novel, but it's a reality that has occurred in various parts of the world throughout history. In essence, martial law is the imposition of direct military control of civilian functions during emergencies or in response to crises such as war or natural disasters. When martial law is enacted, the usual laws and rights that we take for granted can be suspended. The government, or more specifically the military, takes control. They have the power to enforce laws, often with a heavy hand, in an attempt to restore order and security. Now imagine this: the streets are patrolled by soldiers, a curfew is in place, the internet is down or heavily censored. Sounds pretty intense, right? Well, that's the reality under martial law. History offers us many examples. Let's take a trip back to the late 1960s in the United States. Following the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., riots broke out in several cities. To quell the unrest, martial law was declared, with the military stepping in to restore order. Or consider the martial law era in Taiwan, spanning from 1949 to 1987, one of the longest in history. The government suppressed political dissent with an iron fist, resulting in a loss of basic civil liberties for the populace. These historical cases serve as a stark reminder of the range of possibilities and governmental powers during such times. They underline the importance of understanding what martial law is, how and why it might be enacted, and what it means for ordinary citizens like you and me. So why is this important? Because understanding martial law is the first step in preparing for it. In the face of such a daunting prospect, knowledge is our best defense. It allows us to anticipate, prepare, and most importantly, to protect our rights and freedoms. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this topic in the next segment. Martial law can change everything overnight, but what exactly changes? Under martial law, the government exercises direct control over its civilians, often through military force. This can lead to a myriad of restrictions. Curfews may be imposed, limiting the hours during which people are allowed to be out in public. Movement might be restricted, making it difficult for you to travel freely. Even your civil rights, the very pillars of freedom and democracy, might be suspended. Imagine this. You're used to going out for late-night walks, but now you're confined to your home as soon as the sun sets. You're accustomed to driving across town to visit family, but now you're bound by invisible borders. You're used to expressing your thoughts freely, but now you must tread carefully to avoid the watchful eyes and ears of a hyper-vigilant government. But it's not all doom and gloom. Even under martial law, there are legal ways to comply with these restrictions while still protecting your rights. For instance, you might be required to stay indoors during curfew hours, but that doesn't mean you can't continue to communicate with the outside world. You might be limited in your physical movement, but that doesn't stop you from planning, preparing, and strategizing within your own home. And while your civil rights may be under threat, there are still avenues for you to legally exercise your rights, albeit cautiously. Understanding these rights and restrictions isn't just about compliance, it's about survival. It's about knowing the limits of what you can and cannot do, and learning to navigate within those parameters. It's about using the law to your advantage, even when it seems like the law is against you. So, brace yourself for the unexpected. Prepare for the possibility of martial law, not by cowering in fear, but by arming yourself with knowledge. Because when the rules change, the best way to stay safe is to know the game you're playing. Knowing your rights and restrictions is crucial in navigating martial law successfully. Checkpoints and curfews can be intimidating. How can you navigate them legally and safely? Let's begin with checkpoints. These are typically set up to control movement and maintain order. It's essential to understand that the individuals manning these posts are there to uphold a sense of security. So, first and foremost, always approach with respect and cooperation. Keep your identification handy, and be prepared to answer questions about your destination and reasons for travel. Remember, clarity and honesty are your best allies here. Now, let's talk about curfews. Curfews are a common restriction under martial law. They are imposed to limit the movement of people, usually during nighttime hours. If you absolutely need to be out during curfew hours, make sure you have a valid reason that falls within the guidelines provided by the authorities. Understanding your rights is also crucial. Under martial law, certain civil rights may be suspended, but that doesn't mean you're entirely without protection. For example, in many places, the law still requires that security forces treat you fairly and respect your dignity, so if you feel your rights are being violated, calmly but firmly express your understanding of the law. Moreover, it's essential to move within restrictions without violating laws. If a certain area is off limits, respect that boundary. Avoid unnecessary travel and always plan your routes to avoid restricted zones. Remember, the goal is not to challenge the system, but to navigate through it. Familiarize yourself with the new rules and regulations as soon as they're implemented. Stay updated on any changes and adapt quickly. Finally, keep a low profile. Blend in. Don't draw unnecessary attention to yourself. This isn't the time to stand out or be the hero. It's about survival, resilience, and maintaining your rights within a system that's temporarily out of balance. Staying safe means knowing how to move within the system. This knowledge can help you maintain your freedom and dignity even under the most challenging circumstances. Preparation is key, but how can you prepare for martial law without drawing unwanted attention? Let's delve into it. The first step in preparation is stockpiling essentials. In times of martial law, basic commodities like food, water, and medicine could become scarce. It's essential to start building your stockpile now, but do it discreetly to avoid drawing attention. Buy a few extra items each time you shop, rotating your supplies to keep them fresh. Remember, the key here is discretion. You don't want to give the impression that you're hoarding. Next, let's talk about communication. During martial law, traditional communication methods may be monitored or even shut down, so it's crucial to have an alternative in place. Consider investing in a ham radio or other similar devices. These can provide you with a reliable means of communication that is harder for authorities to monitor. It's also beneficial to learn about encrypted communication apps and how to use them safely. Lastly, let's discuss necessary supplies. These are items that can make your life easier during martial law. Things like a first aid kit, flashlights, batteries, and tools can be invaluable in a crisis situation. It's also a good idea to have a stash of cash and valuable barter items like alcohol or cigarettes, as banking systems may be disrupted, and these items can be used for trade. The trick is to gather these supplies gradually and inconspicuously. Again, the goal is not to draw attention to yourself. You don't want to appear as if you're expecting a crisis, but rather be seen as someone who is merely practical and prepared for any eventuality. Preparation is not just about collecting items. It's about planning and strategizing. It's about understanding what you might face and equipping yourself with the knowledge and tools to handle it. Remember, the goal is not just to survive, but to maintain your freedom and dignity in the face of adversity. Preparation can be your lifeline in times of martial law. So start preparing now, because when martial law is declared, it might already be too late. Your home is your sanctuary, but how can you keep it safe and secure during martial law? During times of martial law, your humble abode can transform into a fortress of freedom. But it's not just about heavy padlocks and tall fences, it's about smart strategies and subtle defenses that don't draw attention. So, how can you fortify your home against potential raids or searches? It's about creating layers of security. Start with securing doors and windows, think about alarm systems, and consider safe rooms. Remember, it's not about creating a fortress that screams, "Look at me," but a secure space that blends in with its surroundings. Now let's talk about curfews. When the street's empty and silence falls, blending in is crucial. The key is to stay low-key. Keep your home lights dimmed and noise levels down. Avoid drawing attention to your household during these hours. This isn't the time to blast your favorite tunes or host loud gatherings. Think subtle, think stealth. But what about encounters with military or law enforcement officials? The first rule is simple: avoid conflict. Understand that these individuals are also under stress and often just following orders. Remain calm, cooperative, and respectful. Know your rights, but exercise them wisely. If you're stopped or questioned, provide clear and concise answers without volunteering extra information. Remember, during martial law, it's not just about physical safety, but also about preserving your rights and freedoms. Keep a low profile, be aware of your surroundings, and always stay informed about the latest regulations and restrictions. Use technology to your advantage, but remember that it can also be used against you. Be cautious about what you share and with whom. In the face of martial law, your home becomes more than just a place to live. It becomes a sanctuary of safety, a beacon of hope, and a fortress of freedom. But it's up to you to make it so. Safety and security are paramount during martial law. Communication is vital, but how can you stay connected when traditional systems might be monitored or down? In a world where every conversation could be heard, every text read, and every email intercepted, it's crucial to have a plan for staying in touch with those who matter most. Your family, your friends, your community, these are the people who will provide emotional support and practical assistance when the chips are down. Let's begin with the basics, setting up and maintaining lines of communication. In a scenario where phones and internet may be unreliable, consider going back to basics. Remember the old landline phones? They can be a lifeline in times of crisis, especially if cellular networks are down or overloaded. Make sure you have one in your home and that everyone in your household knows how to use it. But what about when even landlines are compromised? This is where alternative communication methods come into play. Have you ever thought about ham radio? Ham radio or amateur radio is an incredibly valuable tool during emergencies. It's a method of communication that doesn't rely on infrastructure like cell towers or internet connections. Instead, it uses radio frequencies to send and receive messages. It's a bit of a learning curve, but worth the effort. In addition to ham radio, there are other options as well. For instance, consider satellite phones. They're more expensive, but they can be a reliable form of communication when all else fails. And then there's the good old-fashioned method of sending messages via couriers or trusted individuals. But remember, communication isn't just about talking. It's about listening too. Make sure you have a battery or crank-powered radio to stay informed about the situation around you. In times of crisis, having a communication plan can be a lifesaver. Whether it's reaching out for help, staying informed, or simply letting your loved ones know you're safe, communication is a crucial part of navigating through martial law. So stay connected, make your plan, and remember, when words are watched, silence isn't always golden. Community can be a source of strength, but how can you build and maintain a network during martial law? In times of crisis, a strong community can be a lifeline. It's about more than just survival. It's about standing together, supporting each other, and pooling resources to weather the storm. But how do you form and maintain such a network in the face of martial law? Start by identifying like-minded individuals. These are the people who understand the importance of unity and cooperation. They are your neighbors, your friends, your family. They are the people you can trust, the ones who will stand by you when the going gets tough. Once you've identified your trusted circle, communication is key. Regular meetings, whether in person or through secure channels, can keep everyone informed and prepared. Share knowledge, skills, and resources. Remember, everyone brings something to the table. Your neighbor might be a doctor, your friend a mechanic, your cousin a farmer. Each skill set is invaluable in a time of crisis, but it's not enough to just form a group. You need to maintain it. This means fostering trust and understanding, resolving conflicts before they escalate, and ensuring everyone feels valued and heard. Remember, you're all in this together. Now, let's talk about community contingency planning. This involves preparing for different scenarios and formulating strategies to deal with them. Think about possible challenges and how your community can respond. For instance, what would you do if there's a food shortage, or if medical facilities are inaccessible? Having a plan in place can make all the difference. It's also important to remember that every community member plays a part in contingency planning. Everyone's input is valuable and can contribute to a more robust and comprehensive plan. In the face of martial law, community can be your greatest ally. Stand together, work together, plan together, because when the rules change, when the world becomes a different place, it's the strength of your community that will see you through. Surviving martial law is about being informed, prepared, and calm. We've journeyed through understanding martial law, knowing your rights, navigating checkpoints, and preparing strategically. We've also discussed safeguarding your home, establishing emergency communications, and the power of community networking. Remember, awareness and readiness are your armor in these demanding times. Knowledge is your first line of defense. Stay alert, stay informed, and stay safe. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with those who could also benefit from this information.